the Chinese that told us when the Crab Nebula exploded, because they recorded the burst of light that they saw in the sky that we now know as the Crab Nebula. Okay? So these records are well known and universal around the world. No one, and this has mystified biblical scholars for a long time, because we've been conditioned with this idea that the Star of Bethlehem was this enormous event, bright, shone both day and night, you know, as our song said. Well, how come no one said anything? The Chinese, the Mayans, the Hindus, nothing. If there was this big event star, where is it? And so critics of the Bible say it's clearly mythology, because obviously there's no historical record of this anywhere. And they're right. There is no record of things like this at that time. However, so these ideas, and you hear them in the songs, you know, the first Noel, and, you know, we three kings of Orient are traveling here, we travel so far, you know, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star, right? So clearly anybody with eyes could see the star and follow it like it was in the first video, right? And all you had to do was open your eyes, and there it is, and it would be pointing to where Jesus was born. Big beam of light. The problem is, no one records such a thing. No one. No one. That, in of itself, gives us a clue. Because once again, we have a choice. Do we believe our Gospels, or do we go, it's all a bunch of nonsense, it's just Christian mythology, like our modern scholars would say. So we have a choice. What do we believe? The Gospels. So how do we reconcile? What did the wise men see? If there's no record of these exploding stars or meteorites or anything like that, or UFOs, nothing. No one else records this. And in fact, our Gospels tell us that. King Herod heard this, and all Jerusalem was disturbed. Now wait, let's keep reading Matthew's Gospel. He called together the chief priests and teachers and asked them about this. Herod then called the Magi secretly and found out from them exact time the star had appeared. Now, wait a minute. Wait. Read that again. Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. Well, wasn't he awake when the star as big as light and the beam of light came down? Wasn't he awake? Didn't he see that like anyone else? How come he had to ask them when this star appeared? Because he didn't see it. What do you mean he didn't see it? I mean he didn't see it. He wasn't trained like the wise men were to see an unusual star. See, the wise men, the Magi, were astronomers, astrologers. They took great care in mapping the stars and planets and their motions, and they could predict with great accuracy where Jupiter was going to appear, in what constellation it was going to emerge, when the stars were going to rise, in what time of year, etc., etc., etc. Ordinary people didn't. They did. So when this said, this is our clue. The Gospel saying, Herod didn't know when the star appeared. Well, why could he? Because he wasn't trained in it like everyone else. No one saw anything differently that night. Do you realize that? There was nothing unusual in the sky that ordinary people not trained in stargazing would notice. But these men did. There's the clue. And it was in our Gospels all the time. Do you see what I'm saying? You following me?
Yes.
Good. So let's see what it could then be. What was the star? If it didn't look like this, like on our Christmas cards, then what did it look like? It most likely was what we now term an astrological conjunction of stars and planets. Unremarkable to those not used to studying the phenomena, but very significant for those divining such things. Okay. Astronomer Michael Molnar wrote the book, The Star of Bethlehem, The Legacy of the Magi, after discovering that Jesus, the son of Joseph, was born on April 17th, 6 BC. Does this fit with what we've learned so far? Yes. He had to have been born, based on what we've learned in the Gospels, between 8 and 4. April is the month of spring. That fits with our account of what the shepherds were doing out at night. 6 BC, I think, narrows it down perfectly. Now, if you want more additional information from his website or the book, this is a little bit more involved. I'm not going to read this. Again, I'm going to give this to you to study on your own. But the basic conjunction of stars had to do with Jupiter in the moon in Aries at the time when this regal planet stood over a secondary royal portent as described in the Bible. This is why the wise men were looking for a king, because these stars and planets, Jupiter and the star Regulus in particular, came together at just the right time. And the conditions were on April 17th, 6 BC. So in the constellation of Aries, the planet Jupiter coincided with this. And part of the evidence here, I know this keeps bringing up, I'll let it go so you can see. Coins in Antioch have been found with astrological documents that shows there indeed was a star reported as the biblical account of Matthew says. And so far, from what we've read, this fits exactly where we want. This accounts for the shepherds at night, looking after their lambs. It's in a warm time of the year, and it's between 8 and 4 BC. Now, 6 BC seems to be the perfect year for Jesus' birth, and I'll tell you why. If Jesus was born in 6 BC, it would help explain why, you remember when Herod found out from the Magi, he ordered all the kids, how old?
2 years and under.
Why did he kill the 2-year-olds if he was looking for a baby? Why not just say kill all the babies? Why kill 2-year-olds? They didn't have anything to do with it, right? If he was looking for a baby that was born, why kill a 2-year-old? Because Matthew's account says Herod asked them, when did you first see this star? And if they said 2 years ago, then Herod would say kill everyone 2 years old. Because I don't want a baby born now if they've been on a journey for 2 years looking for this kid. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
Okay? So the question then as asked, when did the wise men come to Herod? Probably around 4 BC. Because they would have said 2 years ago we saw this star. 2 years from 4 would be 6. Are you following me? That explains why Herod ordered 2-year-olds born be killed, not babies. So, again, when you look at the Gospels for what they are read for, and you look at the history of these people, it all fits in so much better than our, stars, big as day and night, and all this, and all that. It makes it so much more interesting. I don't know about you, but it helps fit into, because have you ever wondered, why did Herod kill everyone 2 years old and under? If he was looking for a baby, just kill babies. Just say, order all the male babies to be killed. Why 2-year-olds? If he knew that the wise men had first saw the star 2 years ago, then that child would have been born when? 2 years ago. So we need to kill the 2-year-olds and under, just to make sure we cover everyone. If the wise men had said we had been on this road for 3 years, guess what he would have ordered? 3-year-old, you get it? That helps explain why the 2-year-olds were killed. Is there any other proof, Chip? Are you just making this up? Well, no. The proof, again, is in our texts. The wise men were not at the manger. Okay, this is a common Christmas creche. Notice we have wise men over here and shepherds over here, and it's a lovely kind of thing. But that's not what the Gospels say. Luke's account says they saw an infant wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger. The word in Greek is brephos. That's the Greek word, brephos. It means an infant, a baby, a newborn. That's what the word means. However, in Matthew's account, when the wise men find the child Jesus and his mother, they come to a house, it says, not a stable, not a cave, and they saw the child with his mother and paid him homage. The word child in Matthew's account is paidon, which means a toddler, someone who's 2 or 3 years old. Completely different Greek word, completely different place. The shepherds found him in his cave with his mother. The wise men came to a house. Again, the answers have been in our Gospels all along. We just haven't been reading them because we're so used to what we think is happening. We've seen these creches. The wise men were at the manger paying him homage and giving gifts. No, they weren't. Jesus was not a baby when they saw him. He was a 2-year-old. And he wasn't in a stable. He was in a house with his mother. Okay? No Joseph, it says. The shepherds found Mary and Joseph in the cave with the baby Jesus. Again, the answers to what really happened have been in our Gospels. We've just been blind to see them because we're so used to our common images and traditions. But the answers have always been there. Two clearly different Greek words. The wise men saw a toddler. The shepherds saw a newborn. Now, what about this? There was no room in the inn. I've alluded to this before. You know, hay lugar en la posada. No, no hay lugar. You know. Okay? That's the Spanish or Central American custom at this time called Las Posadas, which reenacts Mary and Joseph knocking on doors, looking for some room in the inn, and oh, Mary's about to give her, oh, we need some help. No, 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 we're all filled up. Go away, until one innkeeper finally says, well, I'm full up, but you can have the stable. And that's where Jesus is finally born. Right? That's how we commonly think of this. Okay? Probably not. This is how we commonly think of this idea. Let's hope it works.
Well, before we open the doors, I just want to thank you all for taking time away from your own Christmas to provide Christmas for some that are less fortunate. We promise to turn away no one, remembering how Mary and Joseph were turned away at the end.
Reverend Avery, it's always puzzled me. Why didn't Mary and Joseph call ahead for reservations? Surely they must have realized how impossible it is to get a hotel room during the Christmas season.
I guess that's one for the theologians, Rose.
I always laugh when it's just so funny. I love Rose. I love Rose. It's always busy at Christmas time. Why didn't they plan ahead? You know? But this is the common understanding, right? Mary and Joseph can't find any room. It's all booked up. Right? Well, no. No. What do you mean, no? Well, I mean, not yes. That's what I mean by no. That's not what happened. Okay? Again, this is a common picture that we see on